high call series.
Morning, children. So in the previous class we have learned about food, different types of food, and why we have to eat different kinds of food, and what is the importance of food in our life, isn't it? So in this lesson we are going to deal with one another important thing, just like food. Okay, so sometimes when we play for a while, or during the break time, we go out to the playground and we play for some time. And when we are back into the classroom, we have a feeling. We call that feeling thirsty. What do we call that feeling? Thirsty. Okay. So when we feel that particular feeling of thirsty, we should drink some water. Okay, so when we drink some water, automatically what happens is this feeling of a thirsty will be balanced. Okay, and now in this lesson we are going to deal with this particular thing, water, that is equally or more important than food. Sometimes even there is no food to eat, we will at least drink water. It should be. Right? If you get late to go home, the most important thing is we should not feel ourselves hungry, and the only thing that we should do is drink some water at least. So water is an essential thing in our life, and in this chapter we are going to deal with water. Water is a very important thing in our life because we need water for many things. See, right in the morning, when we get up, we wash our face, we brush our teeth, we take a bath. Is it possible to do all these things if there is no water? Impossible, isn't it? Yeah, these kinds of things can be done only if there is water. Okay? So we need water for drinking, water for bathing, water for washing. Now, cooking. We need to wash the rice, we need to wash the utensils, we need to wash the fruits, we need to wash the vegetables we cut and cook. And for cooking itself, we need to use some water. Okay? Otherwise, without water, if you try to cook, it will become fry. Water is important. Then, for washing our clothes, washing the room, the floors, washing the utensils, the plates and dishes that we leave in the sink after eating. Everything, for every aspect in our life, we need water for one or other purpose. And is it that only human beings need water? Is it that only human beings are the things who need water? No. Plants also need water. Imagine we grow some plants in a pot in a home. Okay, we have some plant pots are there, clay pots are there, cement pots are there, plastic pots are there. So imagine we grow some plants in that. And during the holidays, we went to our grandfather's village, or we went for a picnic or something like that. It took 5-6 days for us, and after we come back, what do we see there? The plants will be dried off. Why the plants become dried off? Because there was no water. Okay? So nutrients, manure and all these kinds of things we actually add to the soil, but daily we should pour the water. If we fail to pour the water, the plants will not get water and they will die off. So plants require water. That's why we have deserts, no? There are no plants because there is no water in that. And if there are plenty of water, lot of plants will be growing on the sides, not in the rivers and lakes and the seas and oceans. Okay? Again, animals. Do you have pet animals at home? Do you have pet animals, pet dog, pet cat, Birds, we should give them also water, isn't it? Yeah, they too drink water. If they want to take a bath, that too need water. So water is important for human, means people like us, right? Plants, animals, birds. Means what? In simple, we can say water is important for all living things. Right? So water is essential for all living things on this earth. It can be human beings, it can be animals, it can be plants, it can be birds. During summer season, in cities, we usually keep water in small cups or mugs or plastic containers so that the birds can come and drink on that. When you go to the park, there will be small pools or ponds or fountains will be there, and we can see the birds coming and drinking water from that because they do need water. Wild animals, they go for the rivers or streams that are available in the forest to drink water. For those animals that we grow at our home, we give them the water. Right? So water is very essential to support life, and water is needed for all living things on this earth. Right? Now, what are the different uses of water? I said you, right from the morning, if we calculate, what are the different uses of water? Say for example, the first and the foremost is drinking. We need water for drinking, isn't it? Then for bathing, for bathing, then cooking, washing, mopping or cleaning. Mopping means apply the wet cloth on the floor. Then these are the basic areas where we use water at our home. We need water for drinking, water for bathing, water for cooking, water for washing, and water for mopping. Water is used for producing electricity also. Water is used for producing electricity also. If you go to dams, have you ever heard this thing called a dam? Dam. So there will be a river and they will construct a dam across it, and they will block the water here, and this water will be made to run through pipes, and that will be made to fall on a turbine. Okay, and here the turbine rotates and we get electricity. We will learn this process later in science. Okay, so dams are constructed for the purpose of producing electricity. For that also we are using water. Okay, so the water stored in the dam is used for producing electricity, and after producing electricity, the water will be diverted through canals for agriculture. Okay, agriculture means growing crops in the fields. We use pumps to pull the water out of the earth and supply to the plants. Right? So instead, other than these household activities, we may easily call it domestic purposes. Right? The domestic purposes like drinking, bathing, cooking, washing and mopping. We use for other purposes like producing electricity, then for crops, right? There are other areas also. For example, if you want to construct a house, have you ever seen how these people construct houses? You know, they will apply brick by brick, isn't it? Huh? So these bricks will be made wet before keeping in the line, and they apply here something we call it mortar, or a mixture of a cement and sand. Do they apply it in a powder form? No, isn't it? The sand and cement powder are mixed with water and they make it something like a paste, isn't it? So that paste is applied here in between the bricks so that the things will get set onto that. So in that aspect, we use water for a construction purpose. Even after constructing the house, we will make it wet with water, isn't it? While constructing new houses. So water is required for construction. Then, if there is a fire accident, some building caught fire or something like that, what do the firemen do? They will make a call to the fire force. They will come with the fire engine, and what the fire engine has? Yeah, a huge tank of water. Why? Water can put fire off. Okay, so producing electricity, then in agriculture, then in construction. We use water in construction, then firefighting. Okay, amusement also. Amusement means what? Enjoyment. We have theme parks, no? Theme parks like Water World, Wonderla, isn't it? So when we go there are a lot of water-based entertainments, like slides will be there, swimming will be there, waves will be there, rafting will be there, isn't it? Yeah, we do enjoy a lot over there, isn't it? So all these are entertainment programs based on water. Okay, so water, other than the domestic usage, we use for electricity, we use for amusement, we use it for firefighting. Firefighting means the firemen use water to put the fire off. Then construction, while constructing a new house or a wall or something like that, we use water to wet the bricks, then to mix the mortar, and after that for wetting the walls also. Then in agriculture, so in different areas we use water. Okay, now where do we get this water from? Where do we get this water from? Sources. So what are the main sources of water we have? What are the main water sources? We know we have a lot of sources, like rivers are there, lakes are there, ponds are there, then wells are there, sometimes tanks are there, tube wells are there, isn't it? Hand pumps are there. Okay, so we usually draw water from rivers, lakes, ponds, wells, tanks, tube wells, and pumps. Right? These are, as far as we are concerned, the major sources of water. But where does all these things get the water from? Where does rivers get water, lakes get water, ponds get water, wells get water? The major source of water is nothing else but rain. Okay. So when it rains, the water that falls on the earth goes into rivers, goes into lakes, goes into pond. Some water will go down deep into the earth also, and that is a wells, tubes, hand pumps. Okay, so the major source that we have as far as water is concerned is rain. Rain is the most important source of water, right? And all the other resources like rivers, lakes, ponds, wells, tanks and all, they get water basically from rain itself. Okay? Now we will check how rain helps in getting water for these sources. So we know we need to learn a new concept here that is known as a water cycle. So here we have a land area and some water area. Okay? And this is water body. Okay? On land, we have some mountains also. Okay? Now what happens is, during the daytime when we have the sun, okay, when we have the sun, the water evaporates. Evaporates means what? When we boil water on the stove, we can see the smoke kind of a thing come out of it, the steam of it, yeah. So the water evaporates. This water vapor goes up. So when it goes up, what happens is it becomes cooler. It becomes a cooler. When it gets cool, then it becomes a cloud. It becomes cloud, right? And this cloud will be pushed by the winds, okay? And these clouds will be pushed by the winds, and the mountains will stop them. The mountains will stop them. When the mountains stop them, then they fall down as rain. Okay? The water from the water body evaporates and they become clouds. Cloud has a lot of water in that, and they will be stopped by the mountains, and from there it falls down as a rain. Okay, so the streams on the mountain sides, what they do is they will gather this water and they flow down. When they flow down, we call it a river. Sometimes what happens is this river will not go to the bigger water bodies, but they will flow and get pooled on a particular area. They want to go off. Okay, if they get pulled up like this, then we call it a pond. Sometimes what happens, this water goes down into the earth. Okay, it goes deeper down into the earth, right? When we dig wells, okay, this water that has gone down deep into the earth, we get that water here. Sometimes we may go for tube wells, tube wells or hand pumps. Yes, even there the same thing is happening. Okay, so when it rains, what happens is some water flows back into the water body. Some water gets stagnated there in the shape of ponds or tanks like that. right? Some water goes down deep into the soil, and that we get while digging a well or while establishing a tube well. Okay, so this is actually a cyclic process. A cyclic process means it continues like that. Okay, the water gets evaporated, the cloud goes into this, and it falls down as a rain, and the water goes into the ocean. Again, this ocean water, it goes on like that. Understood? So this process is called the water cycle. Okay, so when it rains, the rivers get water, the lakes here get water, the ponds are there, they get water, the wells get water, the tube wells get water. If they construct some tanks, then the tanks get water, hand pumps get water, and the remaining water flows back into the ocean. Okay, so this is called the water cycle. Clear? Just observe it. Okay, so this water is known as the underground water. See, when we go to the playground and when we play there, or if we pour some water onto the soil, what happens? This water will go into the soil, no? When it rains, it's a huge amount of water. It's a lot of water. So, much of the water will go down, and that forms the underground water. And we get underground water through wells, tube wells, and hand pumps. Right? Now, drinking water. So, what do we call the drinking water? Is every water good for drinking? Is every water good for drinking? See, water, say for example through the rivers or lakes or ponds, what happens is it flows through different parts and a lot of things get added to that. In ponds, there may be some streams and joining the ponds, or people and animals use this water for different things. For example, the people who live near the water, near the rivers, they will wash the clothes in that river, they will wash the utensils in that river. The farmers will take their equipments, weapons and all these kinds of things and wash it over there. They will make the cattle, the buffaloes and all, bath in the river. Sometimes the tractors, like when the vehicles will be washed in that particular river. So what happens is a lot of impurities get added to that. Okay, the water is not pure. So when open sources like rivers or lakes or ponds, when we consider the water in these sources, open sources, what happens is the water may not be pure. If we do not drink pure water, then it is a big problem because we may get different kinds of diseases. Like dysentery is there, then jaundice can be there, diarrhea can be there. So, if we drink impure water, we will be down with some diseases. If we want to avoid these diseases, then we should drink only pure water. Okay? So, if we have to get out of these diseases and issues, then we should drink only pure water. Then what do you mean by pure water? Pure water is that water which doesn't have any kind of impurities in that. Okay, this kind of viruses or these kinds of waste are not there. Now, how can we make it sure that the water is pure or not? When we look at water, it is clear, clean, perfect. Bacteria, virus, these pollutants, chemicals, we cannot see. We cannot see. Then what can we do? We have to make one thing sure that the water is pure. That is important. We have to make it sure the water is pure. If we drink impure water, we will be down with the illness. Okay, so how can we make it sure that the water is pure? First and foremost thing is boiling the water. What will happen if we boil the water? What will happen if we boil the water? See, we said now there are a lot of bacteria, the viruses and all these kinds of things in the water. Yes. So when we boil the water for around 10 to 15 minutes, we need to boil the water for 10 to 15 minutes. What happens is all these viruses, then bacteria, these kinds of things will be dead in that. Okay, there won't be any more bacteria in that. There won't be any more virus in that. Now the water becomes pure water. Right? The second way is filtering. We may have water purifiers at home. No? We may have water purifiers at home. AquaGuard or AquaSafe or so many companies are there. So what do? They filter the water. There are different systems inside it through which they filter the water. So when they filter the water, they will remove all these bacteria, all the chemicals and everything out of it. Right? So these are two ways by which we can purify the water and make one thing sure, we always drink pure water. Now, purifying is okay, filtering is okay, boiling is okay. We need to keep the water covered and safe. Once purified, make it sure that we keep the water in clean pots. Make it sure that we keep the water in clean pots and they are properly covered. They are properly covered. There should be a special glass or something like that kept there to take water. We should not take any glass and put in that. Okay? If we do those kinds of things, again we are making the water impure. Right? So there should be a glass kept there and that glass has to be used to take the water, pour it into another water bottle or glass or something like that and drink from that. Don't drink from that and keep the glass again over there. Okay? So make it sure water is kept pure. Right? So water is very essential, very important for all living things in the world. Animals, plants, birds, human beings, everybody want water in one way or other way. Okay? Now, there are different sources of water, but the most important source is rain. Rain actually happens in a cyclic process. Yeah, the oceans and the seas, from oceans and seas, the water gets evaporated, it goes up, it becomes cloud, the clouds move away, the mountains stop it, it falls down as a rain, the rain flows back into the ocean through rivers, some water gets in ponds, lakes and all, some water goes down deep into the earth, that is called underground water. We get that water through wells, tube wells and hand pumps. Water is very essential. We need to drink only pure water. Boiling and filtering are the two methods of making water purified. Got it? Now in the next session, we will deal with the exercise part of it. Okay?